Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Weekly Dose of Nonsense. This is a podcast where we express the world through students' eyes, and in the process, help our viewers understand our point of view. This episode is a part of a series where we explore different IB subjects to give you an insight into what it's like and what to expect. Each episode will include a Year 13 student to show you what the second year looks like. So grab a seat, lean back, and enjoy. Guys, this episode we're going to be talking about French ab initio, and today with us in the studio we have Ashwaty from Year 13. Ashwaty, say hi.
Hi, everybody.
And we have Christian from Year 12, who also takes French ab initio. Say hi.
Hi, guys. How are you guys? Well, that's kind of pointless because I'm also not speaking to you guys, but hello.
Okay, so just to start off, have you guys taken like French before in GCSEs, or is this like...
I've taken French, not at GCSE, but I did take it until year 9. And then at GCSE, I wasn't really looking down the language route at all, so I didn't take it then. And then everyone was like, if you take it at GCSE, you have to do it SL at IB. So I was like, all right, definitely not doing it at GCSE. So that made it a little easier to do it at IB, but still have that knowledge, so... Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so you've got like a little bit of a background then. What about you, Christian?
Yes, similar to Ashwaty, I did it in year 7, 8, and 9, and I was born in France and spoke French there for a few years, so I guess in a way, had a bit of an advantage, and I didn't take it to GCSE because it wasn't in the block that I needed it to be, because I wanted to do PE GCSE extremely badly for some reason. But yeah, this year I'm also taking it, so yeah, it's all right though.
That's so cool. Wait, if you guys have taken it before, what's the difference between like year 9 and IB?
Yeah, IB, I think you're expected to start completely brand new, and so the stuff that we do in year 9 definitely helps, but it's not like you need to know all of that before doing it at ab initio during the IB. There isn't much of a difference in like the quality you learn, but you are expected to get to like a GCSE level by the end of the IB. So between year 9 and IB, there isn't that much of a difference, but having that definitely does help.
Because like you said that it has to like, by the end of IB, you're expected to like know GCSE levels. Like, does that kind of add like pressure to it?
Definitely, because with the IB, obviously our exams are a lot earlier than GCSE. I think our first one is the end of April. Well, the language exams are the end of March, or the beginning of March, or depending whenever your school does it. But it's a lot sooner than GCSE ones, so we have a lot less time to do a lot more work, especially considering you start IB technically as a new language, whether you've done it before or not. But you're expected to start from like clean slate and then have to go through all that. So it is quite pressuring.
It sounds like it too. Definitely, if you're expected to like catch up to GCSE, I'm sure there'd be a lot to learn. How often do you guys study for French, like in a week?
I'll let Christian take this one.
Oh, sure. So, like, well, in an ideal world, I'd probably be studying, 3-4 hours of French per week, maybe 5 if I can push it.
Mm-hmm.
The thing with me is with studying French is the only kind of subject that I don't kind of force myself to study. The reason being is because I'm kind of taking extracurriculars outside of school to learn French, because like I said, when I was younger, raised in a French country,
right,
and spoke French pretty well. But obviously I remember moving back to England when I was quite young, and I didn't speak a word of French for probably 8-9 years. So I completely lost. And obviously when I came to Abu Dhabi as well, I completely lost it as well. So I think, and same thing with me, my whole family speaks French, excluding my mother, my sister, and my father do. So I think it's something that I definitely want to be able to speak again.
right.
So I'm taking kind of extracurricular lessons outside of school to kind of be able to speak French really well again, hopefully at least. But yeah, so with French for me, like I'd say in an ideal world, if it was just studying for the syllabus, it would probably be 4 hours a week. But yeah.
Yeah,
so
that sounds
a bit of
reasonable. Of course. What about you, Ashwaty?
I will be honest, I do not do much for French outside of school. I do actually have my phone in French, like the language is like all completely in French, so that I think that definitely does help. But other than that, I don't really do much else, because we do get a lot of homework with our teacher. I don't know if Kristen has the same teacher as me, but with Ms. Burrows, we get quite a lot of homework anyway, so I do end up spending at least 2 or 3 hours a week doing French, but that's just what they give us at school. Over the summer, I did try to use a bit of Duolingo just to catch up on any bits, because online school, obviously, last year was definitely not the best to get in because it was new to everybody. But other than that, I don't do very much. I guess just being consistent with it is the way I'd go about
Sure.
it.
You were talking about how your teacher gives you a lot of homework. Do you find it manageable to finish that on time?
Oh yeah, for the most part, yeah. We do sometimes get 8 hours of education perfect, and we're like, miss what? But pretty chill with it. She's mostly like, if you know like the words, then like don't bother doing all 8 hours. Just do like whatever bits you need. But it is pretty manageable, I would say.
8 hours, my goodness. You mentioned Duolingo as well, right? So do you think those two, like Education Perfect and Duolingo, it's pretty good for practice and stuff?
Duolingo's good. The bird's a bit passive aggressive because keeps sending you reminders, but it's good. Education Perfect it's very repetitive, but it is helpful. But there's also another app called like Busuu, Bussuu, or something like that, and you get to actually speak French to people that are like native French speakers, and that can help you improve your language a lot. But I think you do need to pay for part of it, so I use the free version, but I find that probably the most helpful.
Talking about like ways to study, which part do you think is like the hardest? So you know how you have like listening, reading, speaking, and writing and all that. Which one do you find like is the hardest one to like study for or like to prepare for?
To prepare for, I would say probably, I'd say speaking, because you have to be very natural and fluid with it. And like with writing, you can obviously plan ahead based on whatever your prompt is. But with speaking, you have like the 1 minute speaking that you can prepare for, but then you have about 10 minutes of questions, which you really don't know what's going to come up. So you have to be very natural with obviously your vocabulary, but also you have to be able to think really quickly in a different language. So if you're not too familiar with it, it can be quite tricky, I think. And there's no real way to prepare for that except being consistent with it. So there's no such thing as like cramming for speaking.
Right.
I've heard like reading books would be pretty like sustainable. Do you guys have any suggestions for that?
Yeah, with reading books, I definitely recommend kind of, I think with ab initio, at least from what I've seen and I've watched videos around, you know, how to get those classic YouTube shows, how to get sevens in French ab initio, etc. And yeah, like I've seen a few of them say, you know, read some children's books, you know, read some kids' books, read some cartoons, things like that, because that really does help with word recall. And then also, like for me as well, like another way I learned is just, you know, just for example, I watch a lot of Netflix, like probably a lot of other people do. So I just put, when I can, when it is possible, I just put the subtitles in French, and then you kind of just, you know, make some links and you learn some new words. So I think it's very, very
Right. I think our teacher
to
told
do.
us about this one TV show. Is it Lupin or is it something like that?
Yeah.
I started watching it like while I ate food or something. It's so good. Like genuinely, it's French and like you can use subtitles, but in my opinion, I think it's incredible.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. I binged the entire thing in like one day.
All of it.
Yeah.
But there's so
This
many
is not
episodes.
good. But
Okay, and
Oh,
last question to just tie everything up. Would you guys recommend taking French to people who are going into IB? And if not, why? If yes, why? Let us know.
Definitely. I think French obviously is a very widely spoken language and can increase your employment prospects, but also it is just a really nice language to learn. And if you have French as a base, it's quite easy to learn other languages from that, like Spanish or other way around, obviously, or anything else that's quite similar. So I think, I think French is obviously a really viable option to have at IB.
Okay, and what about you, Christian?
Yeah, I think because obviously my motivation to learn French might be different from somebody else's. Somebody else might just go into IB, you know, trying to learn the language, trying to get good grades. But for me, obviously, there's like I guess a different motive. But yeah, I'd 100% recommend it. And like Ashwaty said, it's a very good language, and yeah, I think it does make it a lot easier to learn other languages such as Spanish and things like that. So yeah, I think it is a very good thing, and you know, it's so widely spoken. You know, it's spoken in some parts of Africa, even you know some parts here like Lebanon and places like that. So yeah, I think it's a good thing to definitely have, 100%.
And I think it'd help with your university applications too, right? Just to have some type of a language in your.
Yeah, I mean, like for example, if you want to be a lawyer, like having another language of being a lawyer is a really, really, really good thing. So yeah, because it's definitely recommended that you're able to at least speak 2 languages as a lawyer, because not exactly sure why. It's just what they say on the application process. So
It just looks
yeah.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
But also being able to speak to more people I find is better.
Yeah.
That's actually really cool. I live in a French compound. Like the majority of the people here are French or Italian. And like, I don't know, for me, I feel like it's so cool just to be able to understand like little bits, even if it's not that much, you know? And I'm sure we could do that with other languages as well. Okay, so I think that's going to bring us to the end of the podcast. Thank you so much, Ashwaty and Christian, for coming on tonight. If anybody has any questions, please be sure to ask them in our comments. And so make sure to follow the WDN Insta page, which is linked in the description below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, share, comment, and please enjoy.